So corporate media is doing the blame game again. They're projecting. They're emotionally insane. And what better way to show insanity than with our good friend Rachel Maddow? And look, if I was Rachel right now, I would be on cloud nine because this was her bread and butter. All of corporate media should be happy that Trump is president. I mean, the reason why they were getting so many views is because they were covering him nonstop. And CBS's Les Nunez once said, what Donald Trump is saying is bad for America, but good for CBS. It's going to bring in the views. Can you imagine how many late evening specials Rachel Maddow's going to have about Trump going to jail or Trump being impeached or this or that or the other? I mean, come on. New boats don't buy themselves. I mean, we would all love to be in a world where you get a knock at the door. Hi, I'm a brand new Mercedes Benz. Hi, I'm a brand new yacht. Hi, I'm a brand new mansion. And I bought myself just for you.
But now history doesn't end. Time doesn't stop. Now we have the benefit of knowing, how this has gone in every other country that has been through a democracy to authoritarian transition. And sadly, there are a lot of them. We have the benefit of seeing what's happened in those other countries, though. And what we know is that the more ground the authoritarian takes, the harder it is to ever get that ground back. And so the first order of business is to stop them from taking any uncontested ground right from the outset when it comes to what our system of government is and what our democracy is, right? From other countries' experiences that quickly, now in the next few weeks, if not the next few days,
time to be afraid. And there's going to be people watching this thinking, this is the end of it all. It's only the beginning of an ongoing, continuous cycle of a two-party system that doesn't like us, doesn't think about us, doesn't respect us, and corporate media drumming up fear. Fear of the orange boogeyman, a woogie boogie 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 boogie. Now, I put this character in retirement, the outrage liberal. And if you saw it on one of the live streams or one of the clip shows, this is how people are acting right now, especially when they watch Rachel Maddow and all this fear that's being projected. Our politicians can be bought by anyone, any corporation, any country, thanks to Citizens United and the McCutcheon's decision.
They are going to start pushing to see how far the country is going to let them go without pushback, without protest. And part of this is because it's just psychologically advantageous for them to do this now, right? They're counting on the half the country that voted against them, the half the country that doesn't want to give up our system of government. They're counting on all those tens of millions of Americans to be despondent, to feel powerless, to check out, which of course would mean letting them do what they want, letting them run the table. What they really don't want is for the half the country that voted against them, the half the country that wants to keep our democracy. What they really don't want is for those tens of millions of Americans to wake up tomorrow feeling scrappy as hell, feeling, regretful about the election outcome, but also, frankly, freed up from having to spend all of our time working on the election. So now we can work full time on being fricking pirates, on being a thorn in the side to anyone who now intends to try to turn this country into.
We can all be pirates. Arr, ye matey, arr. I'm Captain Goldtooth, terror of the 5 seas. Haven't made it to the other 2 seas, but arr, get there someday. Okay, that's a terrible pirate impression, but hey, everybody, guess what? In the live stream chat, type in a pirate emoji because now we all get to be pirates. We all get to be pirates. Step aside, Johnny Depp. We're pirates now. Or either that, we all could be like One Piece. Come on. You know what? I'm going to work on my pirate voice just to be a thorn in your size, massive BJ. Huh? How's that sound? I'm going to work hard to be a pirate. And arr, show you.
Some tin pot tyranny. What they want least of all is to realize that half the country went to bed sad tonight, but then woke up tomorrow fired up. with a new sense of purpose, knowing that apparently this is what we're on this earth to do as American citizens in this generation. Because history did not just end. Time did not just stop. We just got marching orders from the universe and the Electoral College that as of today, American citizens who do want to hold on to democracy, we know exactly what we're going to be spending the next days and weeks and likely years of our life working on.
Finding the doubloons, the secret map, Treasure Island. Yes, that's right, ye mateys. Long John Silver thinks he could hide his treasure from me, that fine booty. Wait, why is everyone laughing at me about the booty? Trump, where's your treasure? You know what I see happening? There's going to be enough triggered people on social media. They're going to make artwork or photos showing themselves being resistance fighters by being dressed up as pirates. Okay? Because now we all get to be pirates. Ya ha ha, he he, yo ho ho, a pirate's life for me.
And the strategic first moves come into focus quickly when you think about what other countries have shown us about how hard it is to regain democratic ground.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, what do these three people have in common? Now, listen, you got Putin, you got Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un. What do they have to do with this? What do they have? Nothing. They have nothing to do with this. Okay? Not to mention, their countries each have a different history in regards to their government and institutions and their political system. This has nothing in common with what happened here in America. Xi Jinping is probably wondering, like, hey, how messed up are these Americans? Like, I bet you these three guys are having phone conversations and saying, like, hey, can you believe that Rachel Maddow just put us in her little pirate piece? Watch, I'm going to get a phone call from Xi Jinping. Hey, Kit, can you tell MSNBC to stop it? And I'll be like, yes, Xi Jinping, but it's going to cost you. And they're going to say, how much? And I'm going to say to Xi Jinping in these exact words. And if this triggers everybody, too bad. Xi Jinping, if you want me to stop corporate media from putting your name in their mouths, I'm going to want all the tea in China. All the tea. Careful, Kit. You might start World War III.
An authoritarian leader has taken that ground. And the work has to be done now. The work that has to be done now, it has to happen in sort of every aspect, every corner of our society. The U.S. military needs to give the American people binding assurances that they will not deploy U.S. military force against the civilian population in this country.
And that's projecting a fear. So many triggered people out there. I got another video here from CNN. Brace yourself.
If you look at the arc of the Biden presidency, he was in really good shape until August of 2021. When Afghanistan happened, he went under 40, she went under 40, and they really lived there until the end of the presidency. He's still there.
Why? I'll tell you why.
Because he ran and told us that the adults were back in charge, and that was the opposite.
Yeah, they
of
were
that.
because Donald Trump was a child.
And you know what else?
Yeah.
And you know what else?
He's a
the fact that they wouldn't give these 13 service members' families the time of
bullshit,
day.
Dude.
Time of day.
I'm sorry.
Don't swear on CNN. What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry, but Donald Trump hates veterans. He called them suckers and losers. He did. He absolutely, despite he has his whole life. He has his entire life.
I know you're super emotional. I just,
of course.
He admits, he says, of course I am. Hold on. Got to rewind that.
Despite he has his whole life. He has his entire life.
I know you're super emotional. I just,
of course I am. I'm terrified.
I'm telling you, the political reality is that when they made that decision,
it doesn't matter. When you don't admit
that
Donald Trump hates veterans. You don't admit it. You deny a man, Chief John Kelly, a Marine. You deny. You say he lied.
You're still campaigning.
You say he lied.
It's over. Yes, it's over. The campaign is over. It's over. OVER.
It's not over. It'll never be over. I want to hear what It'll never be over. You wish.
The political reality is when they made that decision and everyone realized, oh my gosh, these aren't the competent adults that we were promised.
Trump does.
And then when you pile on top of it the decisions that made inflation worse, it was a compounding interest of political crap over time that they could never get out of. And that's how she lost the race.
There was a bipartisan consensus to get out of Afghanistan. That wasn't the point. It was the way it was
Trump's
done.
decision to get
No,
out
hold
of
on. It was the implementation.
that's what
It
it's
was the
saying.
fact that they took out our soldiers first instead of last, which is you would think would be common sense. And again, it's like you said, we thought the adults were in the room. That's why people voted for Biden. A return to normalcy, a return to competence. He's a lifelong public servant. We thought we're going to get normal. We're going to get
did.
No, we weren't going to get normal. I was calling this out throughout the 2019-2020 portion of the primaries and of the general election that Biden was exhibiting signs of on-hand dementia. Okay, so folks, I mean, am I wrong about this? The adults were in the room? Turns out people were lying just how competent Biden was. Turns out he wasn't.
And that's
We did.
That's what
we
it's
did.
about.
We did. And the veterans community,
Afghanistan doesn't signal that.
the
Afghanistan.
wars in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, the Republican policies that led to those wars, the idea that Joe Biden
And that were supported by Democrats like Biden and Hillary Clinton, because you forget that they voted in favor of that war in Iraq. They did. That's what they did. They did that. Yes, they did.
made the final difficult decision, and his administration and his military leaders. I mean, you guys live on the tippy top of bullshit mountain. If you actually think that
Watch the language there, buddy. Boy, are you emotional.
so many people think that the pullout of Afghanistan was the pivot point. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I can read a chart and I can read a poll. I guess you can't. But the reality is when he made that decision.
Oh, now that was uncalled for. Don't be mean. Be nice. Why aren't people being... That was mean. That was mean.
Petty insults
When he made
are
that
so weak, dude. You have no idea. Like, I don't even understand if you hear yourself talking.
Look,
You can laugh all you want, but like,
I'm
I
laughing.
can't read a chart. Like, it's
Just
just
a second.
so hacky.
the
It's so
reason-
uninteresting.
Look, the reason
and
that we
unconvincing.
brought
I bet he cries himself to sleep these past few days. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. You could cry on my shoulder too, buddy. If I was part of that panel, oh man, I'd be laughing at this dude. Be like, let me see with my crystal ball if this guy is suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. And that would be the last time I'm ever invited on CNN.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump turned out that he knew our country better than we did. And I'm not sure I agree with a lot of what Joy said, but I think a lot of this is not the candidates, it's the country. And I think Donald Trump understood that what he could do, and I don't think his mistakes were mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I think his mistakes were strategic and turned out to be right on the money, because I think our party, I grew up in a party where we were for the underdog. We were for the little guy. We are now the elite. We are no longer
Oh, really? You think? Both parties are the elite.
seen as the party for the little guy. He was seen as the party for the little guy. He was seen as the ultimate disruptor. And yes, the edges were very rough, but in everyone's own minds, they sanded them down to the point of acceptability. And as it turns out, there's a lot of craving in America for fear and anger. A lot of craving for fear and anger, driven by lies. But nonetheless, what this election result showed, especially if you look what's happened in the blue states, I mean, New Jersey turned out to be relatively close. New York, we lost huge ground. I mean, if this is not a gut check moment for the Democratic Party to realize that we need to get back to meat and potatoes and fighting like hell for the little guy. And by the way, he'll probably help us here because I have a feeling he's going to burn the house down.
Again, just want to read this. New former Democrat Senator Claring McCaskill admits Trump knows America better than Democrats do. Says they are the party elite and Trump is for the little guy. Gee, it took him 8 years to realize this. Took him 8 years. 8 years to realize that, right? But what is wrong with the people? What is wrong with these big brain geniuses? But if you want to see more meltdown from the media, this is from the UK to our lovely British audience. UK newspaper offers free therapy to journalists after Trump win. Listen, there's a lot of things you're going to be facing off in the realm of media, online journalism, and so much more. And if you are not prepared for the harsh realities of madness and insanity, if you're not prepared for the insanity that comes down the way when you are covering the news, then you are not a serious person. And if you're incapable of seeing just how insane this is, the Guardian has offered its journalists free counseling and mental health support to help them process Donald Trump's win in the U.S. election, according to internal email seen by Guido Fawkes, a British political gossip blog. Written by editor-in-chief Catherine Vinner, the email was sent to the Liberal paper's employees on Wednesday. I know the result has been very upsetting for many colleagues. When you wrote, our U.S. teams in particular have covered the election with brilliant reporting. They will be mostly directed affected by the result. If you're not in the U.S., do contact your American colleagues to offer your support. It's upsetting for many others too. If you want to talk about it, your manager and members of the leadership team are all available as the people team. There's also free access to free support services, which I've outlined at the end of this email. Please stop. Please stop this. Stop it. Get help. Please get help. This is not how you get healthy, people. This is not how you push forward. This is not how you recover. But this is why we need to break away from corporate media and the standard system. And hold on, wait a minute. Eric Roos tipped $5. Free therapy for journalists who are traumatized by free speech. And look, journalists. I mean, you have to cover the news. You're going to be seeing things that are scary, devastating, upsetting, things far worse than an election. And everyone, look, I'm just going to say these words that's going to trigger so many others. Everybody, please calm down. Just calm down. Everyone needs to calm down about all of this. Okay? But when you ask the media to give you a solid answer, you know what they say? They haven't learned their lesson. They're easily triggered. And I played this on yesterday's show, but I got to play it again. Could genocide have cost us election? No way. What we need is a feminist Joe Rogan. A feminist Joe Rogan. Here, I won't interrupt. I'll give you my final thoughts after this video's played. Tell us why we need a feminist Joe Rogan.
Particularly the media ecosystem it's not a good one, it's a negative one, it's a radicalization funnel. But what they have done in their online media ecosystem is build a radicalization engine, literally the way militant groups do around the world, that takes people from relatively low level annoyances with the world. Why are eggs so expensive? Why is my kid learning this new thing in American history in school that I didn't learn? And then moves them through YouTube videos, through podcasts, moves them from that annoyance all the way slowly to a full-blown fascist politics. It's an elaborate multi-billion-dollar infrastructure, and there is nothing like it on the pro-democracy side. We don't have when a man is just lost and lonely and not yet radicalized, we don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction. By the way,
that's your plan. That's it. Hey, Joe Rogan, on the off chance you're watching this, what you should do for your show is maybe put a wig on and be like, okay, I could pretend to be a new character. Jill Rogan. There you go. That's how you make more money. There you go.
Wait, we should educate men that it's actually really great to live with a strong woman who makes money. It's actually easier. Life is easier.
But I think
this is modern media in America. It's okay, folks. Don't panic. It's only going to get crazier. Okay? It's only going to get crazier. And you know what? Hard Lens Media is going to get all of you through it. We're going to survive. We're going to win. We just need a feminist Joe Rogan. They've learned nothing. And somewhere out there, I hear Jimmy Dore laughing. I hear the guys from Due Dissidence laughing. I'm hearing my colleagues and RBN laughing. And you know what? I'm hearing the thunderous applause and laughter from all of you, my audience. All what the liberals need is a feminist Joe Rogan equivalent show. That'll save the day. The temper tantrums and meltdowns on corporate media, just like the meltdowns we're seeing on TikTok. We are only seeing the beginning. I'm willing to bet somewhere down the road, either on a CNN panel or an MSNBC panel, someone's going to swear or spit or punch somebody who's saying some things about Trump. Okay. There's going to be a fight, and it's going to be so weak sauce and pathetic. Everyone will be laughing for days.
Radio station just censored the word devil. Clearly, we are on a different level. I guess you wouldn't notice all the rolling boulders crashing past your shoulders when you're taught to shift your focus lower, scream at all the pebbles. Cheering on the bombers because you can't abide the rebels. But I bet you'll wring your bloody hands when all the dust has settled, when the last little limb is pulled from Gaza's twisted metal. Then you can say how you were led astray, and never once in all your days would you have knowingly supported all the genocide for which you clapped and prayed. But they baited you with unconfirmed blurbs about babies until you were filled with rage. Yet someone told you babies had been starving, bombed, and caged for nearly 80 years in Gaza, and you looked the other way. So regret, but make it fashion. Go and pluck that final petal off a hyacinth on Instagram for every kid they kettled. Every son that Israel imprisoned when they're little, that they tortured for a decade, then surprised with their acquittal. And when they got released and saw their parents and whatever siblings hadn't met the missiles, they stared right through their middle. Their eyes don't seem to focus, and their words are all but dribble, like they're pondering the darkest riddle. That is, how many false flags does it take to make humanity inhuman and uncivil, distorted by the revel? The crooked slant where Israel contorts into America, Biden bathing Bibi in a bloodbath in the bevel. I opened up my feed and I saw children disassembled. Turned some music on and heard the station censor devil. Imagine thinking Doja Cat's a threat to moral fabric in the single largest terror cell that ever felled a temple, that ever sparked a cleansing, that ever burned a market, that ever raped with bayonets or carpet-bombed apartments, that ever turned your water off and left you in the darkness, left you doing surgery on children while they're conscious. You sing the devil's praises every time you sing our anthem. You sing a hymn to him that watched us birth a million phantoms. You'll proudly wave his flag, and yet you will not name the devil? Well, clearly, we are on a different level. I can give you names, shit, I'll give you several. They say the devil wears a different face for every general, like a composite of the char he brought to fields of emerald, and the wail of every childhood we made ephemeral. So who else has left the stain of blood on everything they touch? Who else can starve civilians and they don't so much as blush? Who else has paid for Gaza being flattened into dust? If there's ever been a devil on this earth, then it is us. That's U.S. What an ugly couple letters. Feeding shit and ignorance to those it chose to tether. From the river to the sea, both are slowly growing redder. For the devil that you know just knows you better. It knows every gut reaction it could ever make you feel. It knows fear is that which wakes you up and gets you on your wheel. It knows just the kind of story that will justify its war. And the scripts are wrapped for World War IV. So just imagine my surprise to give the radio a listen and to hear such pious morals out of Zionists and Christians that they'd take the devil's name and try to clip it from existence while they carry out his bloody business. You would wave a fascist flag, and yet you honor not your Iblis? Name you not Apollyon? Hush you now your witness? Bleed the name of Belial till tongue is rolling listless in the man-made mouth of Mammon, as Lamia's whispers listen. When carts are wheeling bodies through the cities that we crushed, and the very air is rotten with decay of all that was, who else would censor devil yet behave as Legion does? If there's ever been a devil on this earth, then it is us. U.S., but not a unity of souls. More a mass of corporations turning houses into holes, turning people into puppets, turning puppets into mold, turning mold into nutrition bars worth their weight in gold because they're bombing every bakery and burning every field with phosphorus that never once has wanted for a meal. The devil wears a mask and it delights in the reveal. in that moment where the face is let to peel. We do not love the underdog. We do not cheer the rebels. We lust for all their blood until the dust has finally settled. Then pity just ourselves that we were so misled to revel. Proudly wave his flag, and yet we will not name the devil.